Goeienaand, good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. Okay, this is a shout out to Nikki. Now, Nikki sent me some very valuable stuff, and she's given a personal reflection on what it is like living with load shedding and no water. In other words, the utilities that in 1994 were taken for granted are now luxuries in South Africa, because of the corrupt way Eskom and the local authorities have been running those aspects of people's lives. And as a result of that, of course, now the Africans are on the march, blaming the whites for all of this. It is quite ludicrous, you know. Blame the whitey on everything that goes wrong, while they're stealing in the back there. Now, let me get to Nikki's email. She says, Eskom's load shedding destroys most electric and electronic equipment, which stimulates government income as they cash in 50% VAT on all replacements. Everything needs replacing by Christmas at least once. TV, DSTV, laptops, computers, printers, routers, fridge, freezer, even the geyser, pumps, etc. I've even had to replace the toilet as fine silt in dirty water after burst pipe and broken pumps, etc., as unfolding. The South Coast, which has had water problems, dry taps for the past 2 weeks yet again, hence road blockades, as per the previous mails today. Now, Nikki lives near Port Shepstone, which used to be a beautiful part of the world, and you just have to look no further than Royden House, which I had a wonderful lunch with the owners of this fantastic. It's a historic building, and it's on the river that goes through Port Shepstone. It is the Umzimkhulu River. It is just absolutely magnificent. But you know, it's owned by white people and run by white people, so everything is kept just. But if you look at Port Shepstone, the city now, it is just black. I mean, black. It's really a case of spot the whitey. Anyway, let's get back to Nikki's email. She says, in 2016, the South Coast enjoyed a massive water disaster, sabotage, which lasted for many months. I don't know if enjoyed is the right word to use there, Nikki, but anyway. After a massive sea surge into water reserves, seawater came out of the taps. Seawater came out of the taps on the South Coast. This is just south of Durban. By the Monday morning, no shops had water for sale. People got sick. Many even fought to the death by the end of the week, with no drinking water available. Many coastal towns bought themselves a JoJo tank and placed it in central places, often filled with fresh water by farmers with borehole water. See how the farmers come in and help? We really need to help these guys in Bultfontein, guys. Okay, if you can, I'll put a link below to the interview I had on Sunday with the farmers in the Free State. Okay, let's continue with Nikki's email. My town's JoJo tank, serving about 300 homes, mainly pensioners, saw many visitors until more towns followed suit. In fact, our first JoJo was stolen one weekend once empty. Our community efforts replaced the JoJo, but now chained and locked down when in use. When JoJo is not needed, it is kept somewhere else. Eskom's load shedding plan to destroy an economy has very far-reaching repercussions, and corrupt members should be held legally and financially accountable. Well, South Africa is fucking moneyed, isn't it? You know, really, there should be a coup in South Africa, and we know which race should take over, but that will never happen. Oh, my God. It's just tragic what is happening in South Africa. Okay, now Nikki concludes by saying, below is a request for the public to kindly support this legal movement against Eskom. And okay, firstly, amongst the tweets that she's received, there's protest action on the N2 and P55 at Murchison and Britannia near Port Shepstone. So be careful of those roads if you're in that area. And she goes on to say, Cape Town law firm De Beer Attorneys, that's DE space BEER attorneys, De Beer Attorneys, have called on South Africans who have suffered financial loss as a result of load shedding to get in touch with the firm as it prepares to take probably a class action, a legal action against Eskom. The managing partner of the firm, Elaine Bergentain, said they were gearing for a class action against a power utility for losses suffered by business and individuals. Well, there you go, it is a class action. They expected Eskom to argue that load shedding was never wrongful nor negligent, as it was a response to the electricity crisis. The power utility recently came under the spotlight after implementing rotational load shedding, citing shortage of capacity. But Bergentain said it could be argued that the electricity crisis was as a result of Eskom's negligence in maintaining the electricity infrastructure, and it should therefore be held accountable for the losses suffered. Now, there's a very interesting fact about the Zulu language, and it gives a bit of insight why maintenance is never carried out. It's never seen as an important issue with the BEE employed CEOs and people running these massive organizations. And that simple fact is there is no Zulu word for maintenance. It doesn't exist in the Zulu language. Isn't that quite extraordinary? So there's no understanding of what maintenance does. You know, we're talking about logic. Okay, I'm off topic. Let me get back to this. A cookie company, for example, which makes 10,000 cookies a day, could prove that as a result of load shedding, they were only able to make 5,000 cookies. They could show a loss in profit, Bergentain said. Eskom stated, the general public liability policy has a current exclusion below. Based on this exclusion, load shedding events will not be covered. And the indemnity says, or the exclusion says, no indemnity is granted by this policy against liability for failure to supply arising out of any interruption of variation or fluctuation in the supply of electricity, which is not consequent upon damage to generation and transmission plant or equipment. And then what I'll do below this is I will put the link to the lawyers who are taking this class action against Eskom. All right, guys, please remember to subscribe to be kept informed, and have a great day. Bye for now.